What's good, everybody? What's up, man? It's Stephen Quarles II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, Yeti. You feel me? And we are back with episode 4 of Behind the Brand. And yeah, man, I get really excited to do these. I don't know, like, who be watching and how many of y'all be watching. I mean, outside the views from YouTube, obviously. But I be having fun doing this, so I hope y'all having fun, like, getting to know me a little bit. Yeah. For this episode, I really want to just touch on, obviously, me, but I want to focus on how I kind of got to the place I am right now. Obviously, a very condensed version, and just focusing more so on kind of the last 4 to 5 years and how I've really become this person as it pertains to qualify and as it pertains to the vision and the purpose that I see for the brand, that I see the brand having. And so I'll start really, well, I can't not start without focusing on Mizzou. So if you watch the evolution of Qualified stories, you already know, like, the sports aspect of why I started Qualified. But a huge part of why Qualified is what it is and why it means as much to me is really about the 4 years I spent at Mizzou. Well, 4.5 technically, no big deal. But the 4 years I spent there really, before even the brand was affected, it really changed me. Like, you know, coming to Mizzou from Milwaukee, like, you know, obviously as everybody at school, like, all y'all thought nobody knew about Milwaukee. For everybody was surprised I was from there. Everybody was surprised that, you know, I wore J's. Everybody was surprised that really just the way I acted, because that I don't think people really had an idea of how people from Milwaukee acted, and they associated Milwaukee with just kind of like the country of Wisconsin, which is the furthest thing, you know, from the truth. But nonetheless, coming here was a huge, I wouldn't say like I experienced culture shock, but it was a huge adjustment just because I would say it's somewhat the first time I felt like I stood out. And it wasn't like a negative thing at all, but it just made me kind of be more
What?
Can't be more pride. But be more proud and have more pride. That's what I'm trying to say. And have more pride in where I'm from and what I'm capable of and just what I bring to the table, to be completely honest. So the 4 years at Mizzou really gave me confidence, and I would say that's something that I was lacking for sure. For sure right on. I was for sure right on. I was lacking confidence before coming to Mizzou, and even in my first, you know, couple of years here, I definitely struggled with that. I just struggled with the idea of what confidence looked like for me, and I always internally felt like it was a battle between being confident and being cocky, and I always hated cockiness. I mean, I still hate it, you know, to this day. Like, I hate the idea of somebody just feeling like there is nobody that can do anything better than them, or that's just, it's a difference in like being confident in yourself and knowing what you bring, and just thinking that, you know, you God's gift to earth, and everybody else, you know, ain't shit, you know, pardon my French. But that was a huge thing for me. So gaining confidence, and I learned that through so many things in those 4 years at college, not just the school specifically, but that time frame in my life. So much of that just taught me how to be confident in myself and confident in my abilities and really trust myself, because when it came to the brand, when it came to Qualified, I quickly learned that I was the only person that truly, you know, understood the vision and knew what I wanted it to look like. Now, granted, I did find people, like whether it be Derek, who's my editor, who is amazing and has been down with me for like the last 4 or 5 years, or other people who have always believed in the brand. I was still the one that kind of had to direct and really kind of still help them bring their skills and their abilities to the table to help push the brand in the path that I saw fit, which was a huge mental adjustment for me as well, because I wasn't used to doing that. As I told y'all in the first episode of this, you know, I wasn't really used to kind of putting myself out there and even being or seeming very controlling or pushy in what I wanted. But I learned to take pride in that, because, you know, Qualified is my baby, it's my brand, so you have to be like that. And if you want the vision to come out the right way, then that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. And it don't mean you got to be rude or disrespectful or anything like that, but you still got to let people know what you want, and you have to be able to do that in a manner where people respect, you know, above anything, what you're trying to do and what your purpose is. So that's one thing. And I mean, I'm so thankful for the last 4 years, because it's really primed me for what I want to do now. That's been something I've wanted to do, and that's been something I've found that's easy for me for so long. Like, I've always been able to hold conversations. Like when I was younger, and my mom used to laugh about it. I would go to the barbershop. And I'm talking about, I mean, fellas probably can relate, but you 10, 11, you could be in a barbershop anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Mind you, this is for barbershops that don't do appointments. So if you had an appointment, that was different. I can't relate to that life. But if you didn't have an appointment and you sitting in the barbershop, you could be in there anywhere from 30, 45 minutes to 3, 4 hours. Like, it just depends. You never know. It's a lot of factors. It depends on your barber. Maybe he cut slow. Maybe you was in there. Maybe you had to leave, come back. I don't know. Maybe somebody jumped you. It don't know. Seniority is a thing in the barbershop. Hey, I loved it though, and I spent so much time in there first just listening. Like, I just absorbed everything, and I was just paying attention to what people were saying, what and why. I tried to guess, like, well, what's making them say that. And then as I got older and started entering the conversation myself, I just always wanted to know past the surface. That I'm still like that. Even with friendships, I can first meet you and still want to know something about you beyond the surface, or go past the first impression. I just believe in that if the time permits for it. So I just feel like that's important to understand people's story. And it's not that you'll know every nook and cranny of somebody's life and somebody's story, but knowing a little bit about them or building that connection, you just never know like how far that'll take you and just what that may mean for the other person. So in terms of like building relationships and connecting with people, like, that's why I love doing these interviews so much. And it's kind of crazy that this is where we've come, and it's kind of come full circle for me. But being able to sit down and talk to somebody face to face and actually pick their brain. Like, I love picking people's brains, but being able to do that and really get insight even in real time as I'm doing that interview to why a person is so passionate about what they do, or the purpose that they have for what they're doing for themselves or what they're doing for others. It's so special to me, and that's what makes me happy. That's what I'm passionate about, is getting those stories of what other people are doing for themselves or for other people, getting those stories out. Like, that's where the fun comes in for me, is being able to have a platform where I can either tell that story in my own way, or I can assist them in telling that story. So here we are. And I mean, I keep kind of pausing because it's hard to find the words to describe where Qualified is now for me. I mean, we're coming up on the anniversary of me really launching Qualified for the first time, and it's just crazy to see that how the idea has changed in the last 5 years. And then even more specifically for myself, looking at the fact that throughout college, I started in my sophomore year, and I had the website up and it ran for a couple of months, and then it was dormant for a long period of time. And I think to how from second semester of my sophomore year all the way through essentially the first semester of my true senior year, there was nothing from Qualified until, the very end of 2017. And then even that stretch only lasted about 3 or 4 months. And then again, it was dormant until I started 2 years ago. So we're looking at like 2 year gaps of creating content and actually, putting something together for this. So to be here now and to have started the end of July, and to just see what I've been able to do in the last 2 months has been insane. And I look back and I think, if I was able to do that in this 2 month span with the focus I have, what can 6 months look like? What can a year look like? And what other relationships can I build, and what else can I do moving forward as I put more time and effort, and as I challenge myself to keep making the brand the best that it can be. So, I mean, yeah, it's great, and I'm glad y'all have been along for the ride so far, and I'm glad to see where it takes me, and I'm glad for y'all to see where it takes me. Yeah. Oh, and with that being said, season 2 back next week. So, peace.